Hello again, everyone. I'm Tom Dirato. Welcome to the Eddie Sutton Show. Number 21 Oklahoma State remained unbeaten this past week with both ends of the spectrum wins over North Texas and Wichita State. We'll have all the highlights as the Cowboys have now run their early season record to 5-0. Big Alex Weber, who nailed 14 of his 16 shots from the field last week, will join us on our off-the-court segment. You'll want to hear what he has to say about his final season in a Cowboy uniform. We'll have all this and a lot more, so you stay with us. We're back after this opening timeout.
The Eddie Sutton Show.
Well, welcome back to the show. And Eddie, as I mentioned in the tease, we had kind of both sides of the mountain here this past week. A relatively easy win over North Texas and a fight to the death against Wichita State.
Well, against North Texas, it was more of a wide-open game, and we did win 103-65. Wichita State really shortened the length of the game with their offense, played excellent defense, and it was really kind of a defensive struggle for us for a while. And finally, we blew out at the end, and were able to beat them 68-56. But two good wins. Having
talked to you after the game, obviously you still feel the same way, that this was a good sign that this senior-laden club could find a finishing kick and perform under pressure and win a game like that.
You know, the thing they did in the last 5 minutes, we outscored them 16-0 and really played solid defense, did a better job on the defensive boards, didn't turn the ball over. Hit our free throws, and really played with a lot of poise. And the thing that you need to always remember, that's when it's most important. We talk about 4 or 5 minute segments in a ball game being so important. The first 5 minutes when you try to go out and get off to a good start. The last 5 minutes before halftime when everybody's a little tired. First 5 minutes of the second half. And the most important 5 minutes of any ball game is the last 5. Because there, if mistakes are made, they're magnified and you don't have time on your side. So that was the thing that was really impressive to me the other night. Our seniors really bucked up there at the end and did all the things that would allow you to win the ball game. And I think that's something they can draw on in the future if we're in that situation again.
It didn't start out this way, obviously, but free throw shooting down the stretch. Cowboys hit 9 of the last 12 under pressure, 17 of the last 20. To kind of keep it close, never let Wichita State get out front more than 4 or 5, and kept the game within reach.
Well, the thing you always want to do, and I never want to take anything away from the other ball club, but it's so important, especially at home, is to jump out when you have an experienced ball club like we have. Get ahead, make them come to you, and where they never feel like they have a chance. You know, this is one of the toughest places in college basketball for the opposing team to win. We've got a remarkable home court record. But we went out there early, missed a couple of layups, missed 5 out of our first 6 free throws, and all of a sudden Wichita State says, hey, we can play with these guys, and they gained confidence as the game went along.
Well, here's our highlight package, and it begins with North Texas. And, boy, there's several things jump at you here. Another double-double for Brian Montanati. And Frederick comes off the bench and does well, as does Glendon Alexander.
I think we have, at this stage of the season, it's quite early, but I think we have 5 guys in double figures, and Frederick is just out of that area. But it's really a great feeling to have someone like Frederick and Glendon Alexander come off the bench and average double figures for you. And then you've got Brian, I think, who's had 3 double-doubles in this early in the year. So he's really been a very good player for us. Between Frederick and Brian, I think those two probably more than anyone else has improved the most from last season.
We're going to be talking with Alex Weber here on the show in a little bit, but that's got to make the other guys in that front line feel a little better. There's less pressure on them. They got a little bit more help, and they can get a little bit more rest this year.
Well, I think that's the best thing we have going for us at this stage is the fact that we are deeper than we have been, and I think when someone like one of our starters is not playing well or they're ill or injured, we do know that now we've got some people who can come off the bench and play well for us.
As you see, North Texas, as you said, a little bit more wide open style. Great lead pass to Fred running the floor.
We are so much better when we are running the floor in transition. If we can get in a broken floor situation, we've got big guys that can run, and we've got some people that can dish the ball off, in particular Doug and Joe Atkins.
Yeah, Brian, 15 boards in that game, nice feed inside, and I believe Doug had 16 assists against the Mean Green, so everybody contributed.
Well, Doug led the nation last year in assists, and I'm sure that he's close to leading in that category again this year. The one area that really jumps out at us, and I don't know, we've got to become much better than what we are right now. We're giving up too many second opportunities. I think after 5 games, we have one more offensive rebound than our opponent, and that's not good.
Oh, I know what you're saying, but it seems like a lot of those, though, are long rebounds off of 3-point shots that go out. Those count as offensive rebounds, obviously. Those are hard to secure when they bounce out to the midcourt line almost.
Well, that's where your guards have to come into play. Your big guys should screen off their top big people, but your guards on long rebounds, they've got to be like vacuum cleaners and get out there and get those, retrieve those long rebounds. And that's one area that we've really been trying to emphasize to our perimeter players.
You know, as you look up and down that lineup against North Texas, it seemed that no matter who you brought out there, and right there's a great dish by Joe, they all were able to produce positively.
Well, this game, like I said, it was so wide open, and we shot the ball well, and there's a great slashing move by Mason to the basket. But in North Texas, right after this, beat Texas A&M, a team in our league. So, you know, I thought at the time that they are a young ball club, that maybe our team didn't play that well, but in a lot of areas we did do a good job.
It's a luxury to
Great
have this kind of
there.
passing, huh?
There's Jason Keep hitting. He played 5 minutes and had 5 points, and is going to be a very good player for us in time as he and Andre Williams, our other young player, learned more about what we expect of them.
Keep and Williams played a little bit in this game, but not as much against Wichita State. Obviously the style a little bit different, but the fact is that the quicker they come along, now you're really starting to add depth to that front line.
Well, right now, when you look at Montnati,
you like
Weber,
that, or whatever that was, you like that.
Frederick, yeah, I do. There's a great pass and a great strong move by Alex Weber. Good defensive play by Alex, and we're going to have him on the show, as you mentioned. Nice pass. In this particular game, I think we scored 43 field goals and had 29 assists.
Again, that's been a hallmark. Here's the orange uniforms. You're surprised. It continues to be a surprise.
Well, we did our radio show on Monday night over at the sorority house, and I told them, I said that some of you have not seen these orange uniforms, which we unveiled them, I guess, in the Eddie Robinson Classic. And everybody likes them. I've been kind of surprised. I thought maybe some people might not like the orange uniforms, but I think they've met with a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of pleasure on the part of our fans.
Hey, they're 2-0. You can't, what's not to like them? Great pass here.
Wichita State played very good defense. There's a nice, a great follow by Alex, but we missed too many easy first shots. Like Brian should have hit that shot. It was a great pass, but Alex fortunately was there to follow up. And
well, isn't that what tough defense will do, though, on both ends? I mean, some of those shots that go down against lesser defensive units, all of a sudden they're pressured a little bit when guys are up on you number to number.
In this particular game, I think we shot 40%. They shot just a little bit less than that, so defense did play a big part. And they did a nice job on Desmond Mason, but he did a terrific job on Perez, their leading scorer. He was coming into the game averaging 27 points. And he got 10, but he only got 7 of them off of Desmond, and that certainly was a big factor in our winning this ball game.
I'm going to let you brag on Desmond right here. Mason and I talked about it after the game, and as Webb continued to work hard. Talked about it in the post-game show. A couple of years ago, lack of offensive production would have affected Desmond's entire game. Not the case last year, and certainly not the case this year.
Well, he's matured as a basketball player, and probably more so in his mind, and he is a more complete basketball player. I think the one thing that he does so much better offensively is shoot the three-point shot. He's hitting over 50% from three-point range, and I think around 60% overall. But he also has become a very, very good defender, and we've challenged him. He did it over in Little Rock the other night against one of their top players, and we challenged him in this game to cover Perez, and he certainly responded in a positive manner, and it was a big factor in winning the ball game. Joe's hit this shot, but Joe's not been shooting the ball very well. He and our guys that we really depend on to shoot well from the perimeter, haven't been shooting as well as they need to.
But you know those guys can do that, though.
They've done it before. There's a great shot late in the game. We're 1 point up.
Oh, man.
And you and Bill, I heard the call on that. Said,
for an hour.
Yeah, it went around that basket. But this is during that last stretch when our defense was so good, and everything that you should do, we were able to do. Good. You don't see Glennon run through too many passes, but he overplayed the passing lane and intercepted the ball and went down and laid it up. They don't score, I think, what was the last 4:49?
Well, I have it 4:41.
4:41.
Right, and that's a long time to shut a team
This
out.
is a good way to end the game. Great pass by Joe, and we finally got an alley-oop, and Desmond drove it home.
Well, it was something, as you told the squad right after the game, it's something that basically we probably needed at this juncture of the season, a test. It got to be a little severe down the stretch, but nevertheless a test that the kids passed.
Well, if you continue to blow people out, and then all of a sudden you get into conference play and you're really pressed, and it's a hard-fought 40-minute game, and if you haven't had this experience, it could hurt you. So, you know, we're happy we won the game. We're happy it was played that way, but it's certainly hard on the fans and the coaches.
I was going to say, more so on the coaches probably. You know, we told you that Alex Weber's going to be with us on the show. He's up next. You stay with us. We'll return soon to the Eddie Sutton Show.
Now it's stolen by Mason. Desmond, a 15-footer, missed it. Weber, the rebound. He goes up and lays it in.
Oh, that's
Perez got hit in the eye.
Nice job by Weber. He retrieved. That's a big, big bucket there.
Well, welcome back to the show. You saw one of the many putbacks that Webb had against Wichita State. And Alex, life's going good for you, isn't it? Relatively injury-free, married, can't ask for much more.
Things are going pretty well right now. Yeah.
He had a remarkable week against North Texas and Wichita State. 14 out of 16 from the field, 4 out of 4 at the line, 13 rebounds, and he did all that in a total of 41 minutes. That's really some kind of week, and that's the way we expect you to play from now on out. That's the way he played, you know, Tom, the last third of last season. And, of course, the injuries have slowed him up, but I thought he was more alert, more active than we had seen him, and we needed that great performance against Wichita. But it was you're the star of the week.
You are, and we're going to see your stats a little bit later. But as we talk about the way you fit into this depth on the front line, that has to take a little bit of pressure on each and every one of you, knowing you don't have to stay out there every minute of every game.
Yeah, last year, you know, with the foul trouble that the big men seemed to get in, it was a question of who would be out there at the end. And this year we have enough guns that down low that we don't have to worry about that. There's not as much pressure as you said earlier, and we're not worried about who's going to play well and who's not, because we're just going to go out there and try to play hard. Because if we do mess up, we know coach is going to take us out and someone's going to fill in.
You can hear that buzz.
Yeah, the buzz happens often on my.
I'll tell you what happens when you have depth. First of all, it helps you in practice, being able to go head-to-head every day. You get better. A lot of times when you don't have that depth, the only time you improve is when you play games. But when you have as many big people as we have and you're going head-to-head every day in practice, you are going to get better. But, to score 32 points in 41 minutes and get 13 rebounds, that's really a remarkable task. But the other thing, when you have depth, when you get tired, you can put someone in. And when you get fatigued, that's when you make dumb fouls, because you get off balance and you reach and you lunge and you don't move your feet and you foul. So I think that's one of the pluses we have this year. Alex's mother is a physical what is it?
Speech pathologist.
Speech pathologist. I'm sorry. Wonderful family, and he got his great genes to play basketball from his dad. Lonnie was one of the best basketball players ever to play at Arkansas State.
He's told me on a number of occasions that Lonnie occasionally critiques his game when things are not going well, I guess. I guess he tells you when they're going well as well.
Critiques often.
But, you look back over your career, it's got to feel good right now. And hopefully this is not a jinx, although you had a little minor problem before the season began, not to have that back flare up.
Hey, I have a lot of questions about my back every day from friends and fans and coaches, and right now my back is 100%, and it's been 100% for a while, and I don't know what I'm doing to keep it healthy, because the doctors told me that they didn't fix it. They just kind of, it's not cured. It's just something that's for the time being cured, I guess. And so they're there's a few questions of how I've lasted this long in the season without my back bothering me, and so whatever I'm doing, I'm going to continue to do. If it's sleep a lot, which I tend to do a lot lately with some of the coaches' practices.
One thing I want to make sure our fans, because they don't get a chance to see all of our players, but Alex is a perfect example of what you look for in a student athlete. I mean, he's a great ambassador for Oklahoma State University, a great role model for some of the youth of our state, and we're just very proud of Alex, and he's going to go out and be a very productive citizen when he graduates next spring and or next year. I think you're going to have to come back and do a little extra schooling, but he's just a quality human being and really an outstanding basketball player, and we're just proud that he's part of our ball club, and he's one of the reasons we're going to have a great season.
Well, we appreciate you coming down today and joining us on our first off-the-court feature. We have players, and you'll be seeing some of your teammates from time to time. We'll be back to wrap it all up after this final timeout.
This week's question from oakstate.com is brought to you by Southwestern Bell. If you have a question for Coach Eddie Sutton, log on to OSU's official athletic website at www.oakstate.com to participate in the Southwestern Bell Ask Coach Sutton contest.
There we see our question of the week about a bench, and you've been talking about the bench the whole show.
Jeff, I think if we are to compete with University of Kansas and Texas and the other teams in the Big 12, that's going to be really a big factor. We have to have a strong bench.
And it's so far through 5 games, you can't complain about the productivity off the bench.
No, that's been one of the pleasant surprises.
Okay, we're going to get to our reporter's notebook. We're going to follow the bouncing ball and try to get to that notebook. Easy.
It bounced.
Here we go. First time out, and it is a good start. Good news for the fans, good news for the Big 12, bad news for coaches, 45-10.
Well, we all said that the league was going to be a lot stronger this year, and it really is proven to be that way. And there's no doubt in my mind, in the minds of a lot of other coaches, right now the #1 team in the country is University of Kansas, the way they're playing, and the University of Texas is playing super basketball as well, and they were the 2 preseason favorites.
Our next item, you probably touched upon it before, so I have to ask a follow-up question. Big Orange, you saw the uniforms. When do we see them again, or is that a secret?
Well, we're going to surprise the fans. Sometimes at home we'll be in white, sometimes we'll be in orange. But, I'm glad that we did that because our football team started wearing orange uniforms, and our fans have kind of jumped into wearing something orange to the games. And everybody I've talked to really likes our orange uniforms.
I don't know if any tees that you've thrown out since you've been here has gotten as much play as those orange uniforms. Now people are going to be wondering if they're coming up at all. Our third item has to do with your choice, and again, that has to do with the 10-foul rule that was experimental, at least for the Big 12.
When I was playing a long, long time ago in high school, you had that rule where you had the choice of taking the ball out of bounds or shooting free throws.
And they still jump ball after.
No, that was before I played. There used to be, when basketball, a long, long time ago, after every basket there would be a jump ball at midcourt. But that was before I was born, about the time you were born, I think. But anyway, the experimental rule this year was after 10 fouls, if you want to take the ball out of bounds, you could. This was in the exhibition games and then some of the preempt tournaments which we played in, and it's really not a bad rule. I mean, if you got a bad free throw shooter and now you have the option of taking the ball out of bounds or shooting a free throw, well, you have that option. But you'll see it maybe in some leagues the remainder of the year because they're going to experiment with it. We won't be playing with it anymore during regular season or the NCAA tournament.
Quickly, we're home Saturday night, Texas San Antonio.
Tim Carter used to be an assistant coach here with Leonard, and he's got a good ball club. He was in the NCAA tournament last year. He brings the Roadrunners to town, and Tim's a good friend, and he's got a good ball club. And then, of course, a week from Sunday, we're down in Oklahoma City to play San Diego State.
Saturday night, it's at the Saturday night, it's here at Gallagher-Iba Arena. Don't want to get ahead of ourselves. 7:05 tip. We'll see you there. For Eddie Sutton, our entire crew here at Educational Television Services, Tom Dirato. Goodbye, everybody.
The Eddie Sutton Show has